So today I'm talking about the shocking science that can keep you or propel you towards success. Now, I talk about science a lot, and it's because I don't want to be an author, a speaker, or a coach who says, look at me, I've done this, you should do the same as me, and it'll all work out. Yes, there's a lot of my own story that I use, which is useful, but I also look at research. I look at the thousands of people I've coached, but I particularly like looking at science because I just don't want to present you with an idea that sounds really nice. I want to present you with something that's actually going to work and is repeatable. So the shocking science about how your brain can keep you from success is to do with a part of the brain we call the reticular activating system. Big phrase, bit clunky, let's call it the RAS. That makes it sound much more friendly. Now, have you ever noticed that all of a sudden the world is full of what you're thinking about? Let's say you want to buy a car, a red car, a Honda, hatchback, whatever, and all of a sudden all you can see on the road is red Honda hatchbacks. That's because you have unknowingly triggered the RAS, and the RAS thinks, oh, okay, well, Elizabeth's really happy when she sees a red Honda hatchback because that's all she's interested in the moment. So I'm going to serve up as many of these cars as I can see. And it's one of those things that you think is a coincidence, or you think, oh wow, I've really got this car on my mind, but it's actually a part of your brain doing what it thinks you want. Now, that's the good news about this part of your brain. The other news is that sometimes if you have a belief, quite often hardwired since childhood, not necessarily your parents, perhaps something happened and made you think, for example, oh, that person was really mean, they have a lot of money, so people with a lot of money are really mean. So what your RAS will do throughout your life is it will look at examples of people with a lot of money being really mean. Now, that's in itself not the sinister thing, and that's not the shocking science behind success. What's shocking about this is that if there is someone that has a lot of money, for example, and who is wonderful, your RAS will actually block that out from your attention. So let's say there's a story on the news or a story in a magazine, or someone's telling you a story. Even though you're seeing it orally or listening to it orally, the RAS can actually act like an eraser, and it will rub out your memory of ever seen or ever remembering having seen or heard about this particular story. I'll give you another example, which sounds a little superficial, it's a little personal, but it's actually something that happens a lot when I see people talking about their relationships. Let's say you have a belief that you look really beautiful when you are dressed up, your hair's done, and you're going out to a wedding or the races, and you feel amazing. And that's when you believe you're beautiful. So your RAS will make sure you remember and notice every single compliment that anyone has paid you during that event. But let's say the next morning, you're having a coffee, you're in your flannelette pajamas with ducks on them or unicorns or fill in the blank, and your partner says to you, gosh, you are so beautiful. Your RAS will actually act as an eraser again, and it will rub out. You either won't hear it or it won't register because that's not in accordance with your belief. Okay, now that we know how your brain can propel you towards success or hold you back without you even knowing it, what do we do about it? As you know, I always like actionable steps. Okay, well, the good news, you can actually start to retrain your RAS. So what you can do is you can start to practice using a motor car, and I talk about that in my book, Feeling Forwards. Or you can use, let's say, yellow flowers. You tell your RAS, I'm really interested in yellow flowers. I want you to notice all the yellow flowers I might see today. And all of a sudden you'll see yellow flowers, whether or not it's a weed by the side of the road or it's someone walking past carrying a beautiful bunch of yellow roses. And then you can start to up the ante. So you can say to your RAS, okay, I want you to notice, let's say you feel like you're having an incredibly hard time and everything seems to be going wrong. You can say to your RAS, I want you to notice everyone that smiles at me today. And your RAS will dutifully serve it up. So by now you might be thinking, and this is the third part of what I want to share today, you might be thinking, oh, okay, so if I tell myself I'm happy or I tell myself I'm lucky, my Raz will notice everything that makes me happy and lucky, and my life will be just one unblemished path to happiness and success. Well, it's actually, as usual, a little bit more complicated than that, because the Raz also really responds to emotions. As you know, through Feeling Forwards, I'm very powerful, very passionate that your powerful emotions have been neglected in the whole area of mindset and personal development, and your emotions are actually your secret sauce today, now, and forever. And this was actually explained in a recent podcast I did with the fabulous Andrea Wilkinson, and she actually talked about the effect of emotions on brain health. So really encourage you to dive into the podcast. It's a bit long, so it's in 2 parts, but really worthwhile. But getting back on track with this particular aspect of the Raz. So let's say you are having an absolutely horrible day. So you've been practicing with your Raz to retrain to notice what you're noticing, and you have a day where your car breaks down or whatever happens that is really painful for you, where just things don't seem to go your way all day. Now retrain your Raz to look back on that day and say, okay, let me just wave my magic wand and say, imagine that in 5 years' time, using Feeling Forward, someone said to me, that was actually the most important day of your life because you learned an important lesson or something really magical happened, even though you didn't realize it at the time. And go back and reframe the day and notice different things. In Feeling Forwards, I talk about notice what you're noticing to create your future, because on any day you could notice what's going really well, or you could notice what isn't going well, and your day changes, even though it's the same day. So using your Raz is a little bit like this, because when you think you're having a horrible day, and yes, horrible things happen, but when you think you're having a horrible day, if you notice what you haven't been noticing, notice what the Raz might have left out because it wasn't in accordance with a belief or a state of mind. Another great example is I coach a lot of women that have imposter syndrome, and quite often they believe at work that I uncover a story from their past or their childhood that they shouldn't be in such a senior position, or it's not great for women to be a manager, or women don't make great managers, or whatever it is. And quite often we uncover that what their Raz has been doing is it's been filtering out all the praise, all the positive feedback, any idea of celebrating their achievements. They get a promotion and they don't really feel it because their Raz is reinforcing a belief or an idea, usually completely outdated, that they shouldn't be in that position anyway, so they're really not succeeding and they're going to be found out. Okay, I know I get so excited about this. I love it when science, emotions, and Feeling Forwards all lines up. So I just wanted to inspire you to have a play with your Raz, to notice what you're noticing, but also notice what you might not be noticing, and then you can create the future you want. Or as Winston Churchill said, one of my personal faves, you create your own universe as you go along. Have fun with your Raz, have fun with your universe, and I can't wait to see you next time.